has following 6 components. First component is Oracle Workflow Builder, and second one is Workflow Definition Loader, and third one is Directory Services, fourth one is Workflow Engine, and fifth one is Notification Systems, and sixth one is Workflow Monitor. Among which first three we as a developer we will use, and this particular sixth one component we will be using for viewing the status of your workflow, similar to this screen where exactly your workflow is, the activity where your workflow is stuck. Everything we can see in this particular workflow monitor, and these two will be provided by the Oracle, and these two will be configured by the sysadmin, and these two are out of scope from this particular course. Now we will discuss about the Workflow Builder. Workflow Builder is a tool which we use for developing the workflow. Similar to your for reports development, we use RDF. For report builder we use, right? So in a similar way, we use Workflow Builder to develop a workflow. Like when you develop a report, the report extension is .rdf. Similar to that, when you develop a workflow in the Workflow Builder, when you save it, that extension will be a .wft. And the versions available are 2.5 and higher, and 2.6 and higher. And current running version is 2.6 and higher. And in our session, we will use 2.6.3.5. And we are having advantage using this particular version is, if you develop a workflow in this particular version, it is compatible for 11i as well as R12. You can deploy your workflow in 11i. Same workflow you can use in your R12 also. In both the instance, your workflow is going to work. That is the advantage of this version. When you open your Workflow Builder, it looks similar to like this, and on the top left side you can see the Workflow Builder version. Now we will discuss about the components of the Workflow Builder. Here these are the Oracle Workflow components, entire Oracle Workflow components, and the first component is Oracle Workflow Builder. And Oracle Workflow Builder have components. Those components we are discussing. Don't confuse. Here these are the components of the Workflow Builder. We are having totally 8 components, major components, and in this course we will use all these components and with different examples. And first component here is item type, second is item attribute, third one is process, fourth one is notification, fifth one is function, and sixth one is events, and seventh one is messages, and eighth one is lookup type and lookup code. Let us discuss about the item type. First component, item type is nothing but it is identifier of the workflow which is developed for a business process. It is similar to your concurrent program only. When you create a concurrent program, what we will do, we will give the short name and program name and description, right? So when you call this concurrent program from the backend or by the Oracle application, when it is calls, it won't use the concurrent program name. It will use a short name because it is a unique across your application or database. So similar to that, your concurrent program is identified by the short name only. When you use XML template also, that is going to be recognized by using the short name only. The short name is same as your data definition short code. Similar to that, item type is an identifier of a workflow which is stored in your database, and we will be using that item type name only across your application, or whenever you call the workflow, we will use that only. And we are having 3 thumb rules in order to create an item type. The internal name or item type name should be less than or equal to 8 characters. It must have 8 characters or less than 8 characters. Let us show you one example here, which is developed. Here, this is a workflow which I have developed for explaining. So if you see here, this is item type. If you want to develop a new one, just go to this one here, XX item type demo. See here, when you go for exceeding the 8 characters also, it won't allow you. So maximum characters are going to be 8 characters. And second thumb rule is we should not use small letters. Here in the item type, we should not use small letters. If you give small letters also, it won't allow you. It will convert it automatically into your capital letters. And third one is, this is very, very important because this is called bind symbol, like your RDF reports. Do not include any colons and leading spaces in your internal name. Here, while creating the item type, Here this is the column which is similar to your concurrent program short name. This is similar to your concurrent program name. This is similar to your concurrent program description. So here this has to have 8 characters, alphanumeric you can have, and they should not have any columns, and they should not having any spaces. This is a thumb rule which you need to follow across your development. Next, second component is item attribute. This is very, very important. Most of the people won't cover this topic. Just simple things they will be covering, and the rest of the things they will leave it. But most of the times we use item attributes in different cases. We will discuss in detail about this one. Before that, we'll discuss here introduction to the item attribute, purpose of the item attribute. In your PL SQL programming, if you take this anonymous block, what we have here, this is a variable name and data type, variable name, data type, variable name, data type, variable name, data type. Here, what is the data type here? Number. Here, varchar, a date, a club, a blob. These are the it is similar to your varchar only, but it can store up to 4 GB data. Here, these are called global variables for this particular anonymous block. Similarly, if you want to use a variable within your workflow, this is my workflow, this is my item type. I want to use a variable across this particular workflow. Then I will be going for attributes. Attribute is nothing but it is a global variable which can be accessed within your item type. Here within your item type, what is your item type here? This is item type. Within this item type, if you declare a variable here, that variable can be accessed, can be used. We can assign the data, we can assign the variable values, anything you can do it. Let us see. And when you create here on the attributes, when you create here, internal name is, I'm using like this, XX demo attribute, XX demo attribute. Here the type we can define it as a text. Text means it is similar to your char. The character can be used. So this particular variable in the workflow can store what? Alphanumeric characters. What is the length of this particular variable? Here when you define your variable, we'll be using here size of the variable, right? So similar to that, we can use here the size of the, we can restrict like that also. We can define your size of your variable. So I want to define here 50,000. Let us see whether it will accept or not. No, because the maximum size we can use is 4,000. So here the size must be how much? For a text means varchar 4,000 max. If you don't use it, it will automatically take 4,000. If you want to restrict to 60 characters, yes, we have to mention here length of your. It is similar to your varchar2 of 60 characters. If you don't mention here, it will be taking as varchar2 of 4,000 characters. And if you want to use here default value, see how it will work, like similar to this. What is the default value to this particular name? Is Ravi. Similar to that, if I want to use any data, any initial value, yes, I can assign here initial value. Exactly, it is a replication of your data PL SQL data types, but the usage is very different, and this is having many advantages. So similarly, if you want to define a number, yes. If you want to define a data type, data type, yes. If you want to define a club or blob data type, yes. But other than these 4, we are having lookup, we are having form, URL, role, attribute, and event. All these things we will discuss at a later point, but for now remember this attribute is nothing but a global variable which can be accessed under a item type or across item type. And in order to assign, how we are assigning here values here for this particular L name, I want to assign a value in this particular program. How I will be using assigning operator, right? So here some John, I want to use name here John. I want to assign like this. But for this attribute, if I want to assign a value, we can't assign directly by using assignment operator. We have to use some of the APIs provided by the Oracle. If the attribute type is text, if attribute type is text, then I have to use API called wf_engine.setItem attr text. I have to use in order to set the value or initialize the value. If the attribute is of number, what should I use here? If attribute is number, the attribute is number data type, then here what should I use? wf_engine.setItem attr number I have to use. If it is a date I have to use. Similarly, if I want to get the value from the attribute also, we have to use a particular API, that is get item attr text. If the variable attribute is type of text, then we have to use get text. If it is an attribute type is number, get number, similar to your this one only. For date also, get date. We will discuss about all these APIs very in brief with different examples so that you will never confuse and everything will be explained crystal clearly. And the next component of the workflow builder is process. This is the point, this is the location where we connect all components. These all components which we are defining will be accessed in the process, will be connected in a such a way to achieve the business logic. It is exactly same as your begin and end in your PL SQL. Whatever the logic you write in between these two, that will be executed. The variables you in the declaration block you will be defining, right? These all things can be accessed in the begin end. In the exactly same way, the process will work. In the process itself, process itself, you can define anything between a start and end. In your anonymous block, what is the starting point, begin and end? It is a mandatory block. Similar to that, process is also a mandatory block where your all components will be executed in a sequence from begin to end. In the place of begin, we will be using here one function called start. In the place of end, we will be using a function called end. So whatever the components you see, those components has to be used between a start and end only, similar to your PL SQL begin and block. That is a thumb rule you need to use. But only difference between the PL SQL begin and block and this particular process start and end is start will be one only, but end you can have any number. Why? Because we are going to change the direction of your workflow. The transition is going to be changed. Once the transition is going to be changed, it has to end somewhere, right? It will go and at a time one start, one end will be executed. If you observe here, the starting point is this and it will go to end here. If it is transited to the transition is through the reject. If the transition through the exit, going to the through loop and exit, then it will go to this end. But at a time, if you observe, at a single start and single end will be executed. Multiple ends will not be executed. Of course, if you have a sub process, then the case is different. So similar, remember this point. Process is a location where all components will be connected together as per the business requirement. And next one is message and notification activity. Guys, very clear, you should be very clear here. Notification activity, notification means you can see here notification. This is a notification point. This is a notification. If I want to send a message, I have to create a message first. This is a thumb rule you need to remember. Notification and message like twins. They can't work in a standalone. If you want to work with a message, it has to be associated with any notification. If the notification has to work, it has to associate with a message. Otherwise, it will not work. So for that reason, a message has to be created first. Then this message has to be attached to your notification. Why? Because notification will not create any messages. The responsibility of the notification system is, it will send a message which is attached to it. That is the responsibility of notification activity. If you see, this is one of the component. Notification system, what it will do, it will sense, that's it. It will send the message attached to it. That is the responsibility. It won't create any messages. Remember that point. So according to this point, first what we need to do, first we need to create a message with anything, and that has to attach it to this particular notification. And after creating notification, where we need to place this one, as I said, the process, the location where we will connect all the components. Process is the location where all components will be connected, right? So we will see some example here. We'll create everything in the next video session, but now I'm telling what is the purpose of each and every component, workflow builder component. So if you take this one, this is a notification. This is attached to which message? Leave message. See here. You just go to messages, leave message. This is attached to this particular. So first what I need to do, a message has to be created with internal name, display name, description, and body has to be created. Which data you want to send. I have created it here, that what you call a text HTML body. We'll discuss HTML tags also, how we can create. And this particular message will go to your person to whom you want to send. So like this. So we'll discuss about it. But remember, the message has to associated with a notification. Otherwise it won't work. Notification system is having a responsibility to send a message or notification to a given person. That's it. And how, which message, whatever the message attached to this particular one. So see, let us see. I have attached already. We'll discuss about it in the later session, but remember this point. So thumb rule. What is the thumb rule? First rule one is every notification must be associated with the performer. Unless you mention two address in your mail program in a Gmail, it will never send a message, right? It will never send a mail. It will ask for prompt. The two mail is mandatory. Similar to that, here you are saying that hello, you have to send a message, this leave message. That's it. But to whom you want to send, that has to be mentioned in the note tab. Here the performer has to be mentioned. Otherwise, it won't allow you to send. It will throw an error. Just check it out here. Just I'm removing this one. Validate it. It is validating. Okay. It should not allow us, but it will throw an error while creating. Let us see. I would like to save into the database. See here, it is throwing invalid performer. So this particular notification has to associate with a particular performer. Otherwise, it will throw error. Here, validation is nothing but compilation. Compilation errors we will never have. When we saving into the database, it will check whether it has the notification is associated with a performer or not. Now it will allow us. Check it out. Apps. See, it is successfully saved. So what is the first thumb rule? A notification, when it is created, it must be associated with your performer. When a notification is created, it must be associated with a message. A message has to be attached, performer has to be attached. Remember these points, thumb rules. And these are the three important websites where you can find the XML tags and XML tags explanations and colors if you want to. Here, if you see in this notification, what is the color you're having? Light gray, right? If I want to have a red color, yes. I'm a PL SQL developer. I'm not I'm not aware of HTML. So with this help of these websites, we can develop any kind of XML tag in an easy way. We'll discuss it very clearly. I'll develop in front of you. And the next component of the workflow builder is notification is completed and message is completed. Next component is function. Function is nothing but it is an activity where we can call a PL SQL stored procedure. Similar to your concurrent program, a function can be called. How can be called? A procedure can be called in the begin anonymous block. We can call, and in your Oracle labs by creating the executable as SQL stored PL SQL stored procedure. Right. In the similar way, if I want to execute a function through the workflow, yes, we have to use a function activity. Similar to this one. This is a function. So how can I create means? Just go to functions, new function. Function name is similar to your short code of your concurrent program, new func or new proc, or test procedure. You can give any name and test procedure. Yes, and in the executable you will mention, right, executable name. Similar to that, you need to mention your executable name itself. XX func, a procedure created in the database that will be used. For example, if you use a test procedure, here a wrong procedure you have used. Let us see whether it will accepts or not. When you save into the database, it won't accept. Because it will checks for whether the function is exists or not. Okay, it is accepting, but while executing it, it will throw an error in your application if it is not showing here. But we should check that we should have a function or procedure in the application. Otherwise, it will throw runtime error. Okay, if it is not showing here, then we have to use we will be seeing that error in your application level. This is about a function activity. Next, event activity. This is a very important topic where the people will not cover much about it. We will discuss this topic very clearly with different examples with execution also. An event is nothing but it is a database trigger. whenever there is a change in database data, whenever there is a change in data in the database, we can find this particular event. You want to perform something. If there is a item change, item description got changed, or item expense account has been changed, I want to notify that particular information to a particular person. Then how just I should know that there is a change in the database item expense account. So that is possible through the PL SQL by using triggers only. Similar to that, here we are going to have an event. Event is a replication of your trigger, and Oracle have provided some triggers, some events. We will discuss about it very clearly, and we need to create subscription for that. We will discuss it very clearly. Event is nothing but it is a database trigger. We can receive and raise, and we can send. All these three will be covered in this particular course. And the last one, last but not least, lookup type and lookup code. This is a section where we see lookup type and lookup code. This has many functions. Lookup type is nothing but lookup type has one or more values called lookup codes associated with it. If you remember or not, in your Oracle application, we are having lookups, a concept called lookups, where we will be having lookup type under which we will be having some values, lookup values. FND lookup values is a table which stores the lookup values, right? So similar to that, here we are going to have a lookup type under which we will associate, and to that associated lookup type we will be having some values. So why we are using these things? Let us see here. This is a lookup type. We are going to use here approve, and approve is a lookup type under which we are having three lookup codes. One is accept, reject, cancel, reject. The main purpose of the lookup types is in order to provide buttons to the performer, the person who got the notification. We use lookup types. See here, this particular approve one is associated with this particular notification in the result type. When you run this particular workflow, you will get these three buttons, exactly same as your three lookup codes. You will get three buttons: accept, cancel, reject. These three buttons will be provided to the approver, the person who got the notification. He is able to accept it, he is able to cancel it, he is able to reject it. And Oracle provides by default reassign and request information. So these three are we have created, right? So the first purpose of your lookup types is in order to provide the buttons to the approver or the person who got the notification. The second purpose of your lookup code is when this is created, if I want to change the direction of your notification, we use lookup types. See here, this lookup type is associated with this notification, right? This approve one is associated with this notification one. Then if the person who got this notification accepts, this workflow will go in this direction. If the person who got notification, if he cancels, it will go in this direction. If I want to change the direction of the workflow or transition of the workflow, we use lookup types. Here we can perform any task also. In this way, we can perform any task. In this way, we can add more functions also. To change the direction of the notification or activity, we use lookup codes. This is a second purpose. And third purpose is in the notification, I want to provide to this particular performer a list of values. Yes, we can use list of values. See here, I have created one more lookup. What is a lookup? Leave type. Leave type has how many values we are having? Casual leave, on demand, on duty, and other. So these three values I want to provide to a performer or person who got notification. Yes, that is possible through your lookup codes only. So three purpose, very important: to provide the buttons, to change the transition of your workflow direction, and to provide the list of values to the performer or the person who got notification. This is very, very important for us. And when you create a lookup type, it must be associated. It must be associated to the notification as well as your message. And when you create a lookup code, it can be associated to the attribute to provide a list of values. See, if you see here, when we have discussed attributes, we have, this is a text type, right? If you want to use here lookup, yes, we can use here lookup. What is the lookup type? Leave type, right? Leave. So when you create like this, the values has to be assigned like this. For the attribute type must be lookup, and the leave type, lookup type is leave type, which we have created here. So we have to attach that particular lookup type to the attribute like this, or we have to associate this particular lookup type to a notification. This is a notification where you see the result type approve one. When you associate note to the notification, it is mandatory to associate with the message also. In the result tab, you can see approve one. In the lookup type, in the result tab, you have to mention. Otherwise, it will throw error. These are the 2 points which I have mentioned here. This is about the components of workflow. In the next session, we will discuss these components with example. We will discuss in the next section. Thanks for watching, and please watch further videos. Hi guys, in this video session, we will discuss about prerequisites to develop XXAP invoice custom hold release workflow. In this course, we will develop 3 workflow, but first workflow is split into 10 examples to understand various components of the workflow. In the last video, we have discussed the components of the workflow builder. These are the 8 components of the workflow builder. So first we need to understand all these 8 components so that you can develop any type of workflow. So this is the real example which I'm going to cover, and is split into 10 examples. At the time, in example 10, we will go to we will see how to migrate this particular workflow to the production, and we will develop a MD70 and MD120. Of course, for 3 workflows which we develop in this course, we'll have these 3. But this particular example 1 is split into 10 examples for understanding the various components. So the prerequisites for this developing workflow, before that, I would like to tell you what is the example 1 we are going to develop. So first, I would like to send the information to the supervisor with the AP invoice holds. Means a invoice XX invoice is created by person 1, and this person 1 will have a supervisor. That person 1 will have supervisor. To that supervisor, I want to send the whole information. That is my requirement in this particular workflow example 1. So for that, I need to know what are the whole need to be sent. I need to know who is created the invoice, and I need to know who is the supervisor of the created by. And in this example, we will cover these are the topics we are going to cover. So first, what is the topic? Messages, notification, attributes with only number type and text type and date type with the send only option. And later sessions, example 5 or 6, we'll see respond also. And running the workflow from the front end, running the workflow from back end, running and sending this particular workflow into the database by using upload or download by using workflow definition loader. With only first option is workflow standard program, that is by running workflow definition loader concurrent program, we will upload and we will download the workflow as and when required. Now let us see what is a prerequisite. We need to create a new hold, custom hold, and see what are the base tables affected. And I will take one invoice, and on this invoice I will apply new created custom hold and see whether it is impacted backend or not. And after that, I would like to decide who is the supervisor for the invoice created by this particular invoice created. Let us see first how to create. First step is how to create invoice hold. Just go to payable responsibility, payable vision of operations, then go to setup, invoice, and hold release names. Go to payable responsibility, setup, invoice, hold, and release names. This is the navigation which we follow. And from now onwards, I will use my company shortcode as XXMRA is my shortcode of your company. This is not exist, but throughout my analysis, I will use this particular shortcode only. So here, the XXMRA is my shortcode of the company, and invoice, this whole name is MGR hold. Just I would like to name it as MGR hold because I'm sending the information to the manager, and he will decide whom to send for releasing the hold and everything. He has all rights. That's why I'm naming it as MGR hold. And description is MRA manager approval. Type is, you can use any of the type which are there in the LOV. I'm using invoice hold reason. So invoice release reason. invoice hold reason. Anything you can use, no issue. Here we are not going to concentrate on app side. So here your hold has been created. Now let us see with the backend table, which table is affected. The table which affected is select star from AP hold codes, where I want to see the row, the columns of the table. This is a table which stores hold code information. What is the hold which we have created? This is a hold name, right? So this is the information is stored in which column? Hold lookup code. Let us see whether it is affected or not. See here, hold type lookup code is nothing but from the front end name, and hold type is nothing but it is a hold region invoice hold region, and description is nothing but here also description. This is about invoice hold, custom hold created. Now let us see whether this particular hold is applied on any of the invoice. AP holds all is a table which stores the information of the invoice with hold reason, hold code, or custom hold, anything, any hold name. So here the column you can see hold lookup code. What is your hold name? This one, right? So no invoice is applied on no invoice. This particular hold is applied. So for that reason, now I'm going to take one invoice. What is the second step? Take any invoice. Say this is the invoice I'm going to take, and apply newly created hold. So let us see how we can apply this particular hold on a invoice. Go to invoice, entry, invoices. It will open the AP invoice screen. Here just click on F11, and here place your invoice number and click on control F11. Then it will show you invoice details. Here you can see screen tab called holds. Here you have to apply your hold. Just click here. Here what is your hold name? XXMRA. So here this hold automatically comes here as a LOV. Just save it. When you see here, when you query this AP holds all, did you get any record as earlier? No. Now see here, you got record. What is the invoice? This is the invoice. So let us see what is the invoice number. Select star from AP invoices all, where invoice ID is equals to, yeah, spelling is mistake, invoice. Okay, this is invoice. See here in the front end you can see what is the invoice we have used. Yeah, on this invoice this custom hold have been applied. And next one is check from backend. It is completed just now. And the third one is decide whom to send this whole information. Find the supervisor of the created by. Here this invoice is created by some person, right? So here there is a call who column called created by. So who is created by? This one. This is a user ID which stores in the FND user. Select star from FND user, where user ID is equal to 1318. So this is the username which is used to log in into your Oracle application. It is not sure that it is employee information. This employee, if you want to know employee information, there is a column called employee ID. This is the employee ID. If you want to know your employee information, this is a column which we need to look into. And the employee information is stored in which table? I think you all guys know it. For all people F, where here the person ID is nothing but employee ID in the user ID, FND user. Person ID is equals to 25. See guys, here user ID is different, person ID is different. Person ID is nothing but it is ID against your employee number. You just remember that point, very important. And here you can see one column called full name. Yeah, this is the full name. The person who created this invoice is Scott Mr. Pat. This is the employee. He is the employee. And what is our requirement? I want to know the supervisor of the created by. This is just employee information, right? Who is created, just we have checked. Now I want to get a supplier, the employee supervisor information. Select star from per all assignments is a table where person id is equals to 25. See here, the person, this is a person id records. Here end date is, see, the same person is end dated 1997, same person end dated in 1998. That's why we got many records. Here try to add this logic and effective date, end date, and effective end date greater than or equal to sys date. Then you will get only one record. So here one column is called supervisor id will be there. Yeah, this is a supervisor id. So this particular 25, the Scott Mr. Pat is working under, who is the employee? 31. So employee information, all whether he is a supervisor or CEO, that person will be there in Paral people F only, where person ID is equal to 31. So in this particular table, what is the column? Full name is nothing but column. So Brown Mr. Casey is the, this is very important. Brown Mr. Casey. Miss Casey or whatever it is, Brown Casey. So here, what is the person ID? This one. This is an employee ID. It is nothing but employee ID in your F&D user. I want to know what is the application user name of this particular supervisor. What is application user of the supervisor? How, where I will be getting F&D user only, F&D user, where employee ID is equal to 31. So this is the username which we need to use to send the notification. Here if you want to send notification to the user, application user, you need to know the application user name, not exactly user, not the name of the user. Here you need to know this one, otherwise you can't perform, you can't develop this particular workflow. For that reason I have told you prerequisites. So with this, all prerequisites are completed. In the next video we will develop a workflow with example 1. Thanks for watching. Please watch next video. Hi friends, in this video we will develop example 1. Here the example 1 is sending AP invoice holds to the single user. In order to develop actual workflow XX AP invoice custom hold release, we need to go through 10 examples which I mentioned in the last class or last session. So it is split into 10 examples. So we'll go one by one. Now we'll discuss for example 1. In this example 1, what is our main aim is, I want to send AP invoice holds to the supervisor of created by invoice. Means the person who created the invoice, to his supervisor I want to send the AP invoice holds information. In the last video session we have discussed about prerequisites to this particular workflow in order to perform the testing. Now let us start with step 1. These are the steps which we'll be using for completing this work, for creating this workflow. First step is open the workflow builder. Go to workflow builder, which is installed in your system. It looks similar to like this, and you can see on top left side the version of your workflow builder. Next one is find the path of the workflow wfstd.wft in your local machine or database or server. Now our explanation till here itself. Let us see what is the purpose of the WSTD is. In order to perform, in order to develop a form, what we use Oracle form, not Dutico form. Oracle form, what we do, we will be using template.fmb. On top of it, we will create a new form. Similar to that, WSTD is provided with Oracle in order to get some features from this particular WFTD into your new workflow. Let us see where this particular WFSTD is located. Go to C drive, go to Aura Home, go to WF Data US. Here you will find the WFSTD. Before developing anything, you just take the copy of this one and take backup like this. Once you take the backup, now you are ready to develop a new workflow. If anything goes wrong in this particular workflow, then you can take this backup. It is one of the best practice. Now let us go to next step. Now open WFSTD from the workflow builder. That is your next step. How can you open? Just go to file, open. Here you can see here two radio buttons. What is the first radio button? File. What is the second radio button? Database. If you are checking to the radio button file, then you are accessing to your local machine, your desktop. You are accessing. If you check this particular button, you are accessing some files, the workflows from the database, not from your local machine. So I'm accessing from my local machine. That's why I have checked this particular radio button. Go to browse. Now I know the path where the WSTD is located. But in some cases in your company, this may not be a C drive. This may be a D drive. Only thing is you need to find where Vara Home 1 is located. It is a D drive means you should see that here. You can see here Vara Home. Similar to that, here Vara Home. Once you find the Vara Home, just go to workflow, data, US, then you will find here WFSTD. The first time when you are developing, you just take the backup. That's it. I have opened it. Now, what is the next step? Now, save as with any name in your local machine. Save this particular workflow with any name. Go browse. It will ask for name. You just try to use XXMRA sending notification to manager. This is your name of your workflow. Just copy this one and save. Now see here. Here earlier we don't have that particular workflow. When you save as, WFSTD will not be affected. A new workflow will be created here. I would like to delete this one to avoid confusion. XXMRA sending notification to manager is not there earlier. Now whatever the changes you will do, that will be affected to this one, not this one. That is the reason why we are asking to save as, not save. Once you save as, then you will see like this. Here the standard item type you will see. What it will have, all workflow builder components you can see. Attributes, processes, notification, functions, events, all 8 you can see here. See, when you go to lookups, these are already predefined lookup types. This is a already predefined message. This is already predefined functions. This is nothing but the notification already prepared by developed by the Oracle. It is providing. They are readily available in the standard one. If you want any one of this, you just drag and drop into your new item type, and you should not touch anything in this particular standard item type. Now just in order to create new item type. So what is the next step we are having? Now create new item type. How can I create new item type? Just place your cursor on your standard item type, right click, new item type. Here item type must be having, what is the thumb rule I have mentioned in the last videos. Thumb rule is the internal name should be less than 8 characters, and in item type name must be in capital letters, and do not include any columns or leading spaces or trailing spaces in your internal name. That is your thumb rule. So first one is, in order to have internal name of the item type is must be having 8 characters. Note. So I would like to use only XX MGR, not. So 8 characters it is exceeded. Now I would like to use the same name which we have used here for saving the file. XXMRA sending notification to the manager, and the description is same as your display name. And here very important one is this persistence. Persistence is going to be covered in the separate session. Please wait for some time. And it will have 3 types. Persistence have 3 types. One is permanent, temporary, synchronous. We will cover permanent, why we use permanent, why we use temporary, and we will not use synchronous anytime. We will be using only one of the permanent or temporary. We'll discuss in the later sessions. But remember, always try to use in our sessions till I cover permanent. use temporary with 0 days. Number of days as 0. So click on apply. Now item type is created. See here. Previously we don't have this particular item type. Whatever you do the changes, you have to do to this particular item type, and do not touch the standard one. If you want note any function, you just copy it and paste in your function. That's it. But you should not touch anything in the standard. Just drag and drop from the standard to your item type. Just minimize standard. Now when I create the item type, it will create 7 components. See, attributes, processes, notification, functions, events, messages, and lookup types. Now what is the next step? Go to process, right click and go to new and fill all the required fields. Now what he is saying is just create the new process. Just go to process, new process. Here I need to give internal name, display name, description. What is the internal name you want to use? XX, MRA. Here there is no restriction on your name. Internal name for the process has no restriction. XX, MRA, notif to MGR. Notification process to MGR. So I would like to use same thing, same display name as description. And please try to have look at this particular one, and we will discuss at later session. It must be runnable. Otherwise, you can't run this particular workflow from your front end. You can't. This process can't be run. We will discuss it very clearly. Try to remember this one. The checkbox has to be runnable. When we have to have this runnable or non-runnable. And go to details. Nothing has to be done. Roles. Nothing has to be done. Access. This access level is also covered in the separate session. And click on OK. Now the process have been created. What is the next step? Go to process. It is completed, right? Now add start and end in the process monitor. So in the previous videos, if you remember, process is nothing but it is a similar to your begin and end in your PL SQL block. Begin and end in your PL SQL block. Here, see here, begin is replaced with start and end is replaced with end. So what we need to do now, just place your click on process, and under functions, do you have any start button and end button? No. Now what we need to do is go to standard one, go to functions. Now you can see here end button, and you can see here somewhere start button. How we can add? Go to your item type. It is your item type. You under functions, if you have start and end, it's fine. If you don't find, then what we need to do, just go to standard one, go to functions, and here you can see end button, you can see start button. So now what we need to do, go to this particular function, double click, go to node attributes, nodes, and at start or end, you need to specify whether it is start button or end button. Next, go to function, same function, go to node, go to this particular tab, start or end, it is end. This is the mandatory. Now we have completed this point. Start and end we have placed in the process monitor. Now what is our goal? In order to send the notification to the specific user, that is supervisor, to the invoice created by. So now we have the process ready. What we need to do next step? Now add notification and connect between start with notification and then to end. How to create notification? So here, go to your item type, just place your cursor on notification, right click notification. Here you can give anything, XX, MRA, notification. So same name I would like to use. Yeah, mention with another name. It has some specific reason. XX MRA notification. XX MRA notification. Just click on apply. So other points I will cover later. Details need not to do anything. Rows need not to do anything, and access need not to do anything. But here you see here we are missing one thing is messages. And when you go to roles, you don't see anything here. Here we are missing one point is message. We will see now. So the notification has been created. Once the notification is created, what he is saying, connect start with notification and then to end. How we can, here we don't have a notification, just please drag and drop to this process monitor. Now connect start to notification, notification to end. Just place your cursor on the start button, right click and hold and drag like this. Place your cursor on the notification, right click, hold and move your mouse like this. Now the notification are connected. The start button is the starting button, begin. This is the execution section and this is the end section. Now save it. See, when you save it, you are getting two errors. One is invalid message activity. Invalid activity message, null messages are required by the notification activities. No empty value is required. And second one is validation failed for child activity, XX MGR note and XX MRA notification. Notification must be assigned to a performer when used in process. So when we are discussing about the process, when we are discussing about notification, I have told you two thumb rules. What is the thumb rule? Every notification must be associated with the performer. Every notification must be associated with a message. Here, because of missing these two rules, we are getting errors. In order to compile this workflow, we just go to file. Here it is not showing verify. Just go to this particular button. It will show you the errors, like compiling the RDF report. Now, what is the first error? To avoid the first error, go to node. Here you can see performer. The notification system responsibility is, in order to send the message attached to it, it will send the message associated with it to a performer. That's it. It is the responsibility of the notification. So we have created the notification, but we have not attached any message to this particular notification, and we have not attached any performer to this particular notification. So now first we will clear the issue with the performer. So in the last video, you can, if you remember or not, the supervisor to this particular stock pat is Brown Casey. The Brown Casey application user is CB Brown. So this particular application user we need to use here. Now if you observe, when you validate it, only one error we are going to get, that is message null. Messages are required by the notification activity. So when you click on notification, here you can see here message. When you click here, you don't see any messages attached to it, or there are no messages created in this particular item type. So for that reason, we need to create a message. What is the next step? If you see, now create a message and message body and attach it to the notification. That is your next point. So how can I create? Go to message. Now click on message body, message, like double click on message. Now it will show you the message name, internal name, display name and description. What is the name you want to use? XX MRA notif MS. Message to manager. Message to manager. Now you are creating message here, but what about body? When you click on body tab, you can see here text body and HTML body. In real life, always your body will be HTML, 95%. Text body is very rare. But before going for HTML body, we will see what is how we can work with the text body. Now I want to send message to the manager, right? With what information? Whole information. Hi. What is the manager? What is the manager name? What is the manager name? Brown Casey. Just use this one. Go to message body. Here, hi Brown. Please find below invoices with which are having invoices on which invoice hold is applied. Now the information is invoice number. I want to send hold name, and next one is created by, and next one is operating unit. This is the information I want to send to my manager. Thanks. Oracle IT team. Here, what is the invoice number we have created? We have created invoice. We have applied invoice, applied a custom hold. This is an invoice. So I want to send this information. What is the hold which we have created on this particular invoice? This is the invoice hold we have created. And what is the created by? Who is the created by? The created by is stock pad. So what is the name of your employee? Stock pad. What is operating unit? In order to find this one, here you have invoice information. There is a column called org ID. Here you can see org ID as 204. So I would like to find out what is the operating unit here. The table which stores operating unit information is HR operating units, where organization ID is equal to 204. So what is the name of the operating unit? Vision operations. Vision operations. This is the body which I want to create. And finally, kindly take required action on above details. You can view here total view message like this also. So click on OK. Click on apply and OK. Now the message body have been created. Now what he is saying? Create message and message body. It is completed. Attach it to the notification as per the rule 2. Go to notification. See here how I am attaching. Go to notification. You can see here message. Here you have to attach. How I can attach here? Click on tab here. It will show you the message which you created. See what is the message you created? What is the message you created? If you observe here, what is the message you created? This is the message, right? Same message you can see here also. Then click on apply. Now your task is completed. Now how can I compile this one particular one? Go to this particular. If you observe, I am highlighting this particular one. Just go to this particular one, validate. It should show here also. Yes. Go to file, verify. Both are same. It is nothing but compiling your workflow. So once it is completed, then go to file, save as. Now it is already there in your local machine. I would like to save this particular workflow into your database. Apps, base. Here, when you want to do if you want to do anything, connect into the database, you have to give these three as TNS names. When you connect to through the report builder also, we need to give your TNS name, right? And with the DBA user ID and password. Similar to that, here also we need to give. That is mandatory. Once you click on OK, it will open. It will save into your database. See, when you save it into database, it will show you like this. That means the object we are handling is from the database. If you click on open again, if you open the workflow which you have created just now, XXMRA, see here what it is showing here with the folder, means it is coming from the local machine. Here when you see this particular symbol, it is coming from the database. Just for showing, I'm telling you. And here once it is saved, verified, everything is completed. Now it is saved into your database. Now let us see the tables which are affected. Select star from WF item types, where row num is equal to 1. I want to see the columns of this particular table. So this is here. What is the name column is nothing but, if you open your item type, here the internal name is nothing but name in the WF item types. Name is equal to. But if you observe here in this table, you can't find the information of the display name and description. How can I find that information? Means there is one more table called VL. Same table, but WF item types VL is a table which stores that information. See here. You can see here display name as well as your description. So these are the two tables affected when the item type is created. Next, when you go to this one, what is your process name? This is a process name. The table which will store the process information is select star from WF process activities, where activity item type is equals to what is item type which we have created for this process, this one only, right? So see here, it will create two records. One is for the root, one is for with your process name. Process item type is nothing but your item type, or activity item type nothing but your item type. So here when you create here, what is yeah, this is the information which stores the process information. Next, when you go to message, what is the message we have here? Message to manager. So the table which affects is select star from WF messages, where type is equals to your item type. See here, what is the internal name of your message? XX MRA notif MSG. XX MRA notif MSG. But still here also you can't see your display name as well as your description. What is the table which stores that information? The table which stores that information is WF messages TL. In this particular view or translated view, we can see the item type, name of your message, internal name, display name, subject and description, and message body also. All this information we can find in from this particular table. In the next video, we will run this workflow from the front end as well as from the back end. Please watch next video. Thanks for watching. Hi friends, in the last video we have developed a simple notification, sending the notification to the supervisor with the AP invoice hold information. Now we will run it from the front end in this video. So open your workflow builder, and now my workflow is already there in the database. Apps, wish. If you can remember, I want to load the workflow from the database, not from my local machine. I remember my notification name is XXMRA sending notification. Just what you need to do is place your cursor and click on this one or enter. It will come onto your workflow builder. Now if you see, what is your item type? This one. This is your item type. Where is your process? This is your process. So already successfully saved into your database. Now I want to run this. I want to kick this particular process. So in the PL SQL, how we can run a procedure? Generally begin, and here the procedure name. The procedure name already there in the database. Just will run it between the begin and right. So here, we can run the same procedure from the concurrent by using concurrent program concept also. So just go to the submit request, new request. Like that, you can submit the concurrent program. But workflow you can kick by using front end as well as your back end. Now we will cover the front end. So first log into your sysadmin. Here, this is a person who have all rights on all components across your application. And second thing is the workflow who have initiated, he will be having the rights. But right now we have not given any permission to any user. That's why we are accessing to the sysadmin. But in real practice, we will not have access to the sysadmin. For that reason, we will have some other session. We can kick the workflow from the backend, and we can give the ownership to a particular user also. Let us see that. Before that, we will run the program from. We will run this workflow from the sysadmin. Log in to the sysadmin. Go to workflow administrator web applications and administrator workflow. So this is a navigation. You remember workflow administrator web applications and administrator workflow is a navigation. How? Then click on home. Right click on home. This is a page where we can run your workflow from front end, and go to Developer Studio tab. Here you will be having the two options, workflow type and type internal name. Here, what is a workflow type in a sense? Here your item type display name you can use here. If you click on tab, then it should show here internal name automatically. Or else, if you don't remember the name of your workflow, then you just use your item type here, go to this particular tab and place here. Now when you place like this, here workflow type is your display name, and internal name it shows, and description it shows. Here one button you can see, this is called run button. This is called run button. When you click on run button, it will starts from where. One second. Yeah. So it will start from start button. It will start from start button. When you click on run, your process will be starting from start, and it will traverse according to your diagram. Now what we need to do is click on run. When you click on run, it will ask for item key and user key. See, this workflow item type is a unique one across the application, across the database, right? But if a user X user is submitted and Y user submitted at the same time, how you will differentiate between the two run? So there should be some mechanism, right? So Oracle provided us two things here, important things. One is item key and one is user key. User key is not mandatory, and item key is mandatory. And for each and every run of this workflow, we need to give a unique ID. It is something like your session ID or concurrent program ID. The ID we need to give here. So here we will give your item name with any number. We'll start with 20. So here across the database, this item key will be unique like your item type, and user key also you can give here with item key with user 20. You can give anything. It is not mandatory use this like this only. You can use anything. But from backend when you run, we have a specific notation how to give item key. By using sysdate, we can achieve that. And while running the workflow from backend, I'll cover that point. Now submit. Workflow XXRMA MRA sending notification to manager with item key has been started. Select the status monitor tab to view processing status. Select the notification tab to view and respond to the notification sent to you by workflow. So what he is telling is this particular workflow is started. It is started, and it will go on to end as per your logic. And if you want to see the status where exactly your workflow status is, then go to one more tab called status monitor. And here you just place your internal name of your workflow or workflow type, similar to the Developer Studio where we have used workflow type internal name. Just click on OK. Here, see here, for how many activities you can see here? 4. What is the status? Completed. Now here, what is your item key? What is your item key? This is item key, right? So place your cursor like this and go to activity history first. See what it is telling. The start is completed, notification is complete, notification sent, and end is it is traversed to end. What it is saying is it is started, notification have been sent, and it is sent to end. It is gone to end state. But still, what it is saying, the notification is still in open, not closed. And if you want to see status diagram with diagrammatically, how we can see, go to just click your select any the workflow with item key and go to status diagram. See here, graphically you can see it is started here. The notification have sent to the performer, and it is gone to end. And still, if you want to see the information about the workflow, you can see here. One more tab is called view workflow details. Yes, what is the internal name of your workflow? What is your description? Or it is a temporary or not? You can see what is the workflow type. Everything you can see here. From here also we can see the process diagram. Now the workflow have been ticked, and the notification is sent to the performer. Who is the performer? C Brown is the performer. In the last video we have discussed C Brown is a performer. And C Brown. So when you log into the C Brown login ID, then you will see whether you got notification or not. Let us see. Now I want to see the notification C Brown got notification or not, but I don't know the password of the C Brown. Do you know the password of, because the person is the C Brown is different from our user ID, but as it is a test instance, we can reset the password of any user. Just there is a API called fnd user package dot change password. There you need to give the user ID with the password which you want to reset, the new password which you want to reset. Just run it and commit it, then the password will be changed. What is the password? C Brown password is welcome. So here the password is welcome. Now I want to log into this particular user. See, when you see here, you can see the notification we have got. But observe, the text notification has a drawback. It is not showing us in the proper format. It is showing all the details which we have given, but it is not showing the proper not in the proper manner. Here I would like to cover two tables here. This is a notification ID. The tables are select star from WF notifications is a table where notification ID is equals to, what is the notification ID you are seeing here? This is a notification ID. So that details you can see. What is the message associated with this particular notification? Yes, message type, message name. It is still in open status. Who is the recipient role? Who got this notification? C Brown. See here, what is your subject of the message? This one. And you remember or not, what is the user key and item key you have given? XXMGR not 20, XXMGR not user 20. So if you want to find out the item key and user key information, you can use WF notifications. With the notification which you got here, we can check. This is an important table. But here nowhere it is showing the item type of your workflow. So there is a one more table called select star from WF item activity statuses, where notification ID is equals to this much. Okay. Now it will give you the item type. See what it is saying is, this is the item type, workflow item type, associate will be is kicked with item key as XXMGR not 20. What is the notification kicked? This is a notification kick. The notification details you can see here. So WF notifications will have a notification ID as well as message which is associated with the notification, message name also, message type also, item key, user item key. You can have this particular from this particular table. If you want to know the item key name, item type name, then you have to go for WF item activity statuses. This is the end of the video. In this way, we will kick the workflow from the front end. In the next video, we will see how to kick the same workflow from back end. Please watch next video. Thanks for watching. Hi friends, in this video, we will discuss how to run the workflow from the back end. In the previous video, we have seen how to run a workflow from front end. So for that, for running the workflow, we need to follow two steps. One is we need to create the process. Second one is we need to run the process. So for running first step, also we are having one package procedure. For second step, we are having another package procedure. In most of the cases, we will use only one package. WF underscore engine is a package which we will be using. For creating the process, just click on F4. You will see here the procedures and a list of functions available in this particular package. If you see here, one procedure is the create process. Here the start process. So now we will use create process, then we'll go for start process to run the workflow from the back end. So let us write this particular. We'll write a piece of code here. Begin. First step is we need to create a process, right? WF underscore engine dot create process. So what are the parameters it has? First parameter is item key, item type. It has item type. Second parameter is item key. These are the input parameters. We will be using 4 input parameters: process and user key. These are the 4 input parameters I'm using for creating the process. What is the first step? I said the first step which we need to use is we need to do is for running the workflow from backend is we need to create the process. So for creating the process, what is the API we need to use? WF engine create process. So we need to pass these 4 input parameters to create the process from the backend. So how we can pass these 4 means by using referencing method. These 4 parameters I am passing. So but do you know item type of your workflow? Yes. Go to your item type. Here you can see item type name, the workflow which you have developed. The item type name you have to give here. What is item key? When you run workflow from the front end, you have given one unique ID, right? That is something like your session ID. You can give anything here, but for every run it must be a unique one. I'm giving series 30. You write down 30 series. For backend running we will be giving, or else 50 is the sequence. Next, what is the process of your item type? Process name of your item type is, you can go to your process, right click, go to properties. Here you can see your process name. You need to give here process name. Next, user key is not mandatory, but this item key is mandatory. Mandatory. User key also we are giving. Just use the same thing, same whatever we are using for item key. Just place at the end u for differentiating between the user key as well as your item key. Next, first step is completed. What is the second step? We need to run the process. How we can run the process? We are having API to run the process. What is the process? What is a what do you call what is a package procedure to run the workflow from to start the workflow from backend is start process. It has two input parameters we will be giving here. WF underscore engine dot start process. It has 2 parameters. Just copy it here. Item type it has, and second in parameter is item key. These are the 2 parameters which we need to give to this particular workflow, to this particular procedure. So what is item type of your workflow? This is the item type. And what is item key which you are using here? This is an item key. So now you are finished and writing your code. As we are not using any local variables, so we are using only anonymous block without declaration block. Now we will run this. Item key must be declared. In which line? Line number 10. Item key must be declared. Why item key is declared? So here issue is we missed here assignment. We are used here equal. It is not correct. Now it will work properly. So your workflow have been kicked from your backend. See here, no issues. It is run. So when you run the workflow from the backend, the first table which you can visit is WF notification, where item key is equals to your item key. As you are running from backend, you know what is your item key, right? So we will be using item key like this. So your workflow have been fired from the backend successfully. Let us see from the sysadmin whether it is fired or not. Go to sysadmin. Welcome is the password for my instance. Go to workflow administrator web applications. Go to administrator workflow. Go to home or anything you can go. Now go to status monitor. Your item type is this one. What is your item key here? XXMG not 50. XXMG are not 50. It is 5. But if you observe here, you can see status diagram also. Just click on checkbox, status diagram. It has been fired successfully. Right now, if you observe here who is the owner of this particular workflow? By default, workflow owner is your sysadmin only. But the person who runs this particular workflow also will have a privileges to run this particular workflow. But we have not mentioned that who is the owner of this particular workflow. So in order to mention that, before that, we will check whether the other user having access to this particular workflow or not. Just go to operations, just want to check it, and go to web applications, workflow web administrative web applications, and home. I just want to check here whether he is able to see this particular, what is item key? This is item key. Your item key is this one. So is it possible to see from this front end from the operations user ID? No. I want to give access to him. If I run the next item type, item key is 51. I want to give access to this person also to view the status, to have all privileges on this particular workflow. So for that, we need to add one more line here. We are having one API AAF engine dot. Here, when you click on F4, you will see set owner, set item owner. Set item owner is your procedure which we need to use for setting up the owner. So what are the three input parameters? Item type, and now item type key already we used, right? 50. So I'm changing it to 51. Now I want to give access this item type with item key to the operations. Who I want to make operations this guy as one of the owner. Of course, by default, sysadmin have a rights to run this particular workflow. Let us see. So what it is saying, line number 12, line number 12. So same mistake I have done. Okay, line number 12. Line number 12, what it is having issue. So let us try to run again. Yeah, it is completed. Mistake is this semicolon I have missed. So now committed, right? Now let us see this particular from front end. If you see the 51 has access or not. Yes, now he is able to see because he is the owner. He is the one of the owner, and we will check whether from the sysadmin we can able to see this particular item key or not. Sysadmin, welcome. I have reset the password for sysadmin. Just go to workflow administrator, web applications, go to home, and let us see he is having access or not. Go to status monitor, go to place your item type, click on, see here 51 is having owner. Once you set the owner, 52 is not coming, right? If you forgot, right? What is your item key here? Yeah. Once you set, so you can see here, what is your item key? Yeah. So by default, owner for a given workflow is sysadmin. And if you give any owned by, if you give owned by, or if you set item owner, then that person also able to access this workflow. Thanks for watching. This is the end of the video. Please watch next video. Hi friends, in this video session, we will concentrate on lookup types. Lookup type is nothing but, in order to provide buttons in front end, we use lookup types with some lookup codes. Whatever the lookup code you use, that lookup code will be reflected as a